friend, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're standing at a crossroads, surrounded by doors that all look good? Each one leads somewhere promising, but every time you reach for the handle, doubt creeps in. What if I choose wrong? What if I waste years chasing something that isn't me? It's not that you don't have options, it's that you have too many. And somehow that abundance feels more like pressure than freedom. If that sounds familiar, I want to tell you a story today about someone who once felt the same, until she realized clarity doesn't come from thinking harder, but from moving toward what makes you feel alive. Let's talk about Clara. There was a time when Clara hated being asked what she wanted to do with her life. Not because she didn't have answers, she had too many. Every time someone brought it up, her mind would spin like a carousel. Marketing, coaching, UX design, teaching, writing, business strategy, psychology, branding, even herbal medicine at one point. All things she was decent at. All things she had studied or practiced, and every one of them felt like a door she could walk through, if only she could choose. But that was the problem. She couldn't. Not truly, not confidently. And what she feared more than choosing the wrong thing was wasting years chasing something that turned out to be a dead end. She would scroll endlessly through job listings, not because she was looking for one particular role, but because she was searching for a feeling, a sense of recognition, of resonance. She wanted something to click, to scream, "This is it!" But all she got was a quiet hum of maybe, if that sounds like you. If you're someone who's good at many things but somehow still feels stuck, overwhelmed, or secretly afraid to commit, this episode is for you. Let me tell you about how Clara found her way through. Clara lived in what most people would call an enviable life stage. She had a degree, a portfolio of varied experiences, a few well-paying freelance projects, and friends who called her a Swiss Army knife. Her resume was the kind that made recruiters pause. Her network was strong, her ideas were plenty, but she was quietly drowning in all that potential. She tried vision boards, future mapping exercises, ikigai diagrams, even took a few online assessments. None of them gave her the clarity she hoped for. She kept telling herself, I should be grateful, that she had options, that being multi-skilled was a blessing, and everyone reminded her of that, but gratitude wasn't helping her choose. It was just adding guilt to her confusion. The truth? Clara didn't want to waste time climbing the wrong ladder. She wanted to be sure, and the more she tried to think her way into the perfect plan, the more tangled it got. And that's when the spiral began. One rainy Thursday afternoon, Clara sat at her desk staring at yet another decision matrix she had created. Columns, rows, skills, income potential, joy level, energy cost, market demand, time to mastery, possible regrets. It was color-coded, formula-enhanced, and beautifully organized. She stared at it for nearly 2 hours, then closed her laptop and cried because none of it helped. Her brain was full. Her heart was quiet. In her journal that night, she wrote, "I'm afraid that if I pick one path, I'll lose the rest of me." That sentence didn't just sting, it cracked something open. The next morning, Clara left her phone at home and went for a walk. No podcast, no productivity, just the sound of leaves, distant cars, and her breath. At some point, she remembered something an old mentor had told her years ago. Back when she was fresh out of university and bursting with plans. You don't need to find the perfect answer. You need to find the version of you that's most alive and start from there. At the time, it felt like nice advice. Now it felt like oxygen. What if the goal wasn't certainty? What if it was energy? That evening, Clara lit a candle, made tea, and opened her journal again. But this time she didn't write about job titles or career ladders. She wrote about moments. Moments she felt proud, not performative. Times she felt seen, not just praised. Projects where she felt a deep sense of flow, of presence, of being exactly where she was meant to be. Moments like when a mentee she coached aced their interview and thanked her for believing in them. when she wrote a long-form article that made someone cry, when she designed a workshop that left people buzzing with ideas. She noticed a pattern. She didn't light up from completing tasks. She lit up from witnessing transformation, hers or others, and that was her first real breadcrumb. She didn't change her LinkedIn headline the next day. She didn't quit her job or announce a rebrand. She started small. She emailed a community organizer she admired and asked if she could help plan their next event. She offered 3 free coaching sessions to test how it felt to hold space, not just solve problems. She shadowed a friend who ran a creative agency for a week to see what strategy work looked like behind the scenes. These weren't pivots. They were probes, low-risk experiments, real-world data. And slowly, they gave her what thinking hadn't: clarity. But clarity didn't come wrapped in confidence. There were nights she questioned herself, days she woke up and thought, maybe I should just go back to that safe job. Moments where her feed showed peers getting promoted, launching companies, or doing TEDx talks while she was still figuring it out. But she reminded herself, clarity is a process, not a lightning strike. She didn't need to know the final destination. She just needed to keep walking toward what felt alive. Then came the day she signed her first paying client. It wasn't glamorous. The invoice was manual. The logo was a Canva template. But the transformation was real. After the call, Clara didn't celebrate with champagne. She just sat quietly, staring at her screen, at herself. Not because she looked different, but because, for the first time in a long time, she felt it. She had chosen, not forever, but for now, with intention, with heart, and that was enough. Today, Clara calls herself a coach, not because she found the one true calling, but because it's the path where she feels the most aligned, where her strengths, her joy, and her impact meet. She still writes, she still designs the occasional workshop, and she still journals almost every night. But she's no longer waiting for the perfect clarity to arrive. She's in motion. And one day, while onboarding a new client, they said something eerily familiar. I'm good at so many things, but I just don't know which one is me. Clara smiled, not because she had all the answers, but because she finally knew the question that mattered more. What makes you feel most alive? That's where the path begins. So if you're still spinning your wheels, waiting for a sign, a system, or a certainty, maybe don't look harder. Maybe look closer, not at the titles, but at the tiny moments, not at what's expected, but at what expands you. Sometimes the life you want doesn't start with a master plan. Sometimes it starts with a journal, a walk, and a question. Where do you come alive? Start there.